What's up, party people? This is Tarkus Mossberg from Facebook, Jude's Junk Facebook comic book shop and YouTube channel, and I'll let you know when that shop is up and active again, because Facebook removed everybody's shop unless it's linked up to a website where you can actually check out on your website, and I never had a website in place. Anyways, I wanted to bring up this idea of variants. Someone asked a question for the new Absolute Batman 15 that's coming out. Everyone asked, what do you think of this variant? What do you think of that variant? It's going to outsell Absolute Batman #1, which is going through the roof. It just came out last year. And so this idea of variants, and I'm probably talking about moderns, because when it gets into variants of older books, that's really hit or miss with what people want. It could be a second or third printing that's considered a variant. There's a difference between a variant by the comic book company, and then there's the variants that each individual artist might put out with a local comic book store. And so it depends if you want incentives, which is from the comic book company, I believe, or if you want just random variants. I will tell you that I know from personal experience that sometimes variants might get released a week or two later. So if a book is really, really hot and you think, well, I'll just grab a variant because it's coming out later, the chances are that that book that's coming out later might not get as hot as the very first cover A. So when I talked to my local comic book store owner, when I was doing pull, what do you call them? Are you on the pull list? I was asking him, what do I get? How do I know it's going to be worth one? And he's like, it's a guess, but usually cover A. So Absolute Batman cover A is probably going to be more valuable. Even the last Ronin, remember when that came out and there was a million variants and they were all cool, and some were more popular than others. Typically, the cover A, I think, is going to hold more value and be worth more. Now, some of the incentives might be rarer. Those might be worth more, but typically the variants may or may not be worth more, especially if someone buys a whole bunch from one comic book store and 2 months later they're still selling them on their website after it's already gotten really hot. So you got to keep an eye out for that. And some variants, it's just a matter of, I really, really like that variant. Some of the Crane variants, Spider-Man 1 from 2019, the New York comic edition where it's purple. That one's just a really hot book. It's always sold really, really well. The Spider-Man 1 facsimiles, even though they're not called variants, there was variants of the facsimile that Crane did with the black suit, and then there's the virgin and the non-virgin, the trade dress, and those sell more and are worth more. So if you're looking for the new books, though, and you're trying to guess what's valuable, and that's what a lot of people are doing, that is the game. Is your taste in demand with what other people like? I don't want to play the game anymore. I got tired of variants and moderns from 2001 to 2003. Totally burnt out on them. Waste of time. For me, not fun. They're just new books that they make a million of. And it's like when the King Spawn came out, and even the signed ones were all the craze. It was going up to 1,000 or 1,300. Now it's down to like 400. I think I probably paid $400 for it brand new and can't even break even now. So a lot of these huge releases that sound really popular and there's a lot of buzz for it with a lot of different variants, that Absolute Batman, it's probably going to go down in value over time. Just like the Superboy one did. I went out and got a bunch of the was it Superman 7? Was that the first Superboy? That was really popular for like 2 years. And I got several 2 different sketches on it by Ramos and Bagley and signatures, and they were selling really well, and then boom, not worth anything. People just get bored. There's going to be something new coming down the line. So unless you really want to play the game where you get it quickly and turn around and sell it quickly, or what some of the companies are doing, the pre-selling the 9/8. So I don't know how you're doing that if you're not in the game and buying a bunch of raws on and that's a whole other game. Is if you're going to wait for the 9/8, then it might have lost hype by the time that 9/8 comes out. Or you're just going to try to get the raw at cover price and turn around and flip it for 30 and just take your profits and run. And everybody has a different philosophy. But if you're new in the game, don't expect any of these moderns to hold any value. The only way to make money on them is to sell when it's hot. Because as soon as it's not hot and talked about a lot, it's going to go down. And people do opposite. They do the opposite. I did the opposite. If it's on Comic Tom, hey, it's hot. That's not necessarily so. I've learned that the Comic Tom thing doesn't, they might have outpaced the 12-month average, but if you look at the graph, they're going down in value. So just because a book is selling hot doesn't mean it's going up in value. And he has 2 different videos, and I never can tell the difference, and I've been watching him for 4 years. So one is hot and one is selling a lot of issues or something like that, which are, one's selling above the 12-month average from a dollar perspective, and then one is selling quantities, I think. Anyways, so when everybody's talking about it, when the buzz is going on, that's when you sell. A lot of people are going out and buying when the buzz is going on, like, oh, I got to have this, that FOMO. And I got to warn you, that's not what the sellers do. When the FOMO's going, that's when we're selling that book. We're watching those videos because it's going to spur on, and we get the Key Collector has the top 20 that comes out like on Wednesday, and those videos come out like 4 or 5 days later. So if you really want to be on the ball, watch the Key Collector top 20 for both those lists and put them up for sale as soon as that comes out, because when the video comes out, it's already too late, basically. It's like the stock market. Once that video comes out, people go out and buy, but they're buying at the high end, and all the sellers are getting rid of it because that's the most they're going to get for it. If me as a dealer or another dealer thought that he was going to get a lot more, he might hold on to it. He might hold on to 1 or 2, sure, and then sell 10 if he bought, 12 or 20 or 30. But the point is, by the time you hear about on those videos, the hype's already over. The sales have already gone. As soon as those sales get recorded on eBay that are outrageously high, because somebody just wants to have the very first book, and there's some satisfaction. Who buys the newest Porsche that comes out? Does anybody buy Porsches anymore? Who buys the newest Tesla? Does anybody buy Teslas anymore? Whoever buys the newest hot car, they like to be first to market. So some people get a satisfaction out of being the first one to get that 10.0 Uncanny X-Men 266. Even though 100 might come out later and drop that price by 90%, I'm the first one to own that Uncanny X-Men 266 10.0 PSA. That's a whole nother story. But there's that first to market feel, that FOMO. And it's not really missing out. It's, I want to be the first. I want to show this on Facebook to get some of that social recognition that I am cool because I have one of the cool copies that everybody's talking about. And that's part of the game. That is part of the game. The nostalgia, the showing off with your friends. There is satisfaction in being able to be in these groups and be like, especially the groups that are like no selling, no buying. They just want to show their books, talk about them, and have fun. And totally, I get it. So I don't think the variants are the way to go unless you just see a cover you just love. And hopefully the covers you love is what everybody else loves, and they'll go up in value. What was funny about this post I just saw is someone said, hey, what does everybody think about this variant? So they're almost like trying to gauge whether other people like it or not. Now, it's not like they're doing real market research, because they're going to get 3 responses, maybe, and they're usually trolls. So do you really want to make your investment choices based on 3 trolls who have nothing better to do but then get on Facebook and make comments about what they don't like? And maybe you'll get some cool people that chime in and say, well, I like this better, or I really like that one, and maybe you're going to do it. It's just not the best way to get, there's probably a lot better ways to do your research in advance. A lot of times people do the pre-orders and we can't even see the covers. That's the problem. So if you're looking for covers you like, a lot of times we do the pre-orders. I used to do it from DCBS, Discount Comic Book Store, and you would buy based on the artist. Ooh, Momoko's coming out with a new one. Crane's coming out with a one. McFarlane's coming out with a new one. Definitely want the McFarlane one. Momoko, that was hot for a while. Scotty, that was hot for a while. And so people would buy them even though they couldn't see the covers. Sometimes by the time the covers were released, pre-orders were already over. So by the time a book might get hot, it might be too late for the pre-order. And then that one is rare. But if those pictures are released early and everybody does the pre-order on the hot book, that's not going to be worth a lot because everybody got it. So it's usually the ones that weren't pre-ordered a lot because no one could see the picture on these pre-order sites, and the pre-order time went as far as cover price goes. Now the variants, they have their 15 for the trade dress, 30 for the Virgin, and that's real popular among a lot of different stores. But I'm talking about the pre-orders that you might do for the cover price or the incentive copies. So anyways, I get what the guy wants to do. He wants to get feedback. This late in the game, when 15 is coming out like this week, you're like 6 months behind the curve. Literally, you got to go back 4 months to start ordering from some of these discount comic book stores 4 months in advance. You got to get into that habit. So if you're wanting to get the cover price books in advance, you got to be looking at previews. Does previews still exist? I don't think they do anymore. That's weird because my previews pull list was taken down. So I don't even know. I don't do new books anymore, moderns. It's a waste of time, money. I don't like it. It's not my game anymore. But some people love it. You can see some of the new books are really, really hot, really, really talked about. I just went out and got a pre-order of Absolute Batman 15, cover A in a 9.8 from Lost Boy Comics. You know, reasonable price with the 20% discount for Black Friday. It was like $50 shipped. That's what it would cost me to grade it. So I might as well get the pre-order for $50, $55 fully shipped because it was 20% off of 60, and then whatever shipping was. I buy through him a lot. Some of the pre-order for 9/8 of the new hot books. I think I did one. It was a Scott Campbell cover. It was with Spider-Man and Mary Jane, and they were skiing in the snow or something. I wanted the Virgin, but I got the trade dress. It didn't go anywhere. The cover A went up, but the one I got, it didn't go anywhere. I don't even know if I can recoup the 55 that it sold for because so many people got it. And then they wanted the Virgin instead of the trade dress, So you got to really like it, because what if you get stuck with it? If you're just buying it to try to see what people like to sell it for later, and you get stuck with a book that you gambled on and you didn't really like it, and now you're stuck with it, it's like a constant reminder that you blew it. And none of us like those books in our collections where it just makes us feel like, ooh, that was a bad decision. Ooh, I made a mistake. I invested too much money. Those are good books to sell. Take the loss. If you bought it for $200 and you sell it for $50, take the $150 loss and then deduct that from your profits, and then not pay taxes on it. So that's almost better than keeping it in-house and insuring it and storing it and worrying about it and constantly putting it up for sale and thinking about that bad purchase you made over and over again. Sometimes it's just better to get those books out. There's books that I had that made me cringe, and I was so happy when they sold that I just didn't like them. I bought them maybe because I thought they'd go up in value. So again, going back to the variants, you got to like it because you might get stuck with it. You got to like it, and hopefully your taste is like others, and other people will like it, and it'll go up in value. But if you can go out and buy it for cover price, and you like it, everybody else likes it, they're all buying it for cover price, it's not going to be worth anything. I don't think many of these moderns will go up anywhere. They'll go up in the short term. 2-3 months, 6 months, maybe a great book, maybe a year, like Absolute Batman. But you're going back to number one, it's up to $300. I think with a year or two, it's going to be below 100. I guarantee it. And even then, that might be too much, because if it's gone down to 100, it's just going to keep going down to case costs. How many millions? Maybe not millions. How many hundreds of thousands of those that were sold? So, again, get what you like. So if you get stuck with it, you don't have that bad taste in your mouth. Anyways, happy hunting, guys.